Welcome, Bella. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Luke. Hey.
Hey, Vinod.
Hi,
Got Stuart here today as well.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Vinod.
Wonderful. If you'd like, we'll make a very gentle start into the practice. And as always, we'll invoke the beginner's mind. And again, on Sunday at the Buddhist temple, we practiced in a room where we had to basically remove our footwear before going into the room. And then in the past, I've had a chance to contemplate on this strange ritual. Why in many of the Eastern spaces of worship, mosques, temples, whether Hindu or Buddhist, there's a practice of removing your footwear before entering. I often wondered whether it had to do with hygiene. It may have, but as I looked at it a little bit deeper, I began to find that it was more symbolic. That very act of removing footwear was symbolic of stepping outside of the stories that we carry within our mind. And every single one of us here, we have stories in our lives. Some of them financial, some of them having to do with our relationships, and some of them having to do with our health, whether physical or mental. And this is what the beginner's mind is about. It's about releasing all of this together with the baggage, which as to what we believe we should get out of this session, what a meditation should feel like, what a meditation should be like. We empty ourselves of all of these stories as I ring the bell. And simply arrive into this space. And if you like, you could even look around you at the space that you find yourself in. You feel, I hope you do. I hope you feel quite secure. I hope you feel you have a degree of privacy. There's nobody walking around you telling you about postures and how to sit or how not to sit. You have complete flexibility to find comfort within your body, if not absolute and complete comfort because of those chronic pains and conditions that we carry, just as comfortable as you can possibly be. Freedom to lie down, freedom to be on a chair. And then bring about those childlike qualities. That child that has always been a part of us. That child who watched the body grow. That child who watched the body change in many different ways. That child who still continues to observe and now participate in this practice. That child who has the ability to step beyond and outside of everything that it has learned, all of that information that it has accumulated from the day it was born, now simply released as like a goldfish with a very short memory. We find ourselves magically transported into this virtual meditation room, into these spaces that you find yourself in. I hope you feel a little bit lighter, having removed these shoes and all that they represent. All of the have tos and the shoulds and the should nots. And just finding what you find right now, this present moment, which includes all of the sounds around you, which includes all of the bodily sensations within and around your body, from the temperature of the room right up onto those, what you're feeling through your joints and your muscles and your nerves. Just being here now. And this morning I thought about a metaphor that I would like to use, or rather begin our practice with. That of every single one of us here wanting to see a sunrise. We want to see a sunrise, and let this sunrise represent all of those things that, those emotions that feel good, joy. And usually it's a result of good health. It's a result of having comfortable finances, if not extremely comfortable finances, finding peace, happiness, fulfilling and funny relationships, well-being. We all want this, irrespective of our cultural backgrounds, irrespective of where in the world we live. Some of us seek it through enlightenment, if you're a religious person, through heaven. Some of us seek it through good jobs, of course, relationships, good investments, comfortable homes and good neighborhoods. It goes on and on. And usually most of us are here in a practice such as this because we haven't quite found that total balance. You may have good finances, but maybe you find yourself lacking in a different area, and there's always some standard that hasn't fully been accomplished or reached. And then we look at the world around us, the advertising industry, everything that our teachers told us, everything that our parents and guardians told us as to how to find this happiness, how to find this joy, this peace, this fulfillment, this sunrise. And all of that information, it's contained within the mind. You need a house that looks like this. You need a car that looks like this. You need these awards. You need a particular body shape. I think you get the general idea. There's a lot of information within the mind. And then most of us, we started to move in a particular direction. And usually this direction, we move towards our likes. Within the mind, we've already decided, because of our cultures, because of our parents, because of the advertising industry, they've told us what we should like, what will help us to feel fulfilled. And then there is another set called the dislikes. We move away from the dislikes, shying away from it, running away from it, pushing it away, fighting against it. And in the metaphor of seeking the sunrise, many of us are moving west just because everyone else is. We're moving west in order to find the sunrise. And so it's started to get very tiring, exhausting. We got the new car, we got the new house, we got the jobs, we got the promotions, we got the relationships, but still no sunshine, still no sunrise. Chasing, initially using our feet, and then we find bicycles that will help us to get there faster, and then more and more technology, more and more luxuries, motorbikes, cars, soon ships, boats, planes. But we continue to move west, and it's still dark, and we can't quite figure out what's going on. I'd like you to see this practice, this moment, as that moment within which you simply stop. You simply stop. You stop chasing. You stop moving westward. You rise above your mind with its likes and its dislikes, its likes which are calling you, its dislikes which you push against. You rise above them just for this hour that we have together. And you stop. I want you to explore your body and what it feels like when it's stopped moving. Feel how stable those points of contact between your body and the surfaces underneath them feel, how they are experienced. What your limbs feel like. Your knee joint, your elbows, your arms, and wherever it is that they are resting. I want you to arrive wherever it is you find yourself. You stop. You just stop. And it's quite liberating. No longer needing to exert yourself in that quest. as you stop, as you sit, as you breathe, as you stop doing anything, at least when I use words such as stop doing anything, I simply refer to the stopping of your physical action. You're still doing something. You're rising above your thoughts. And if your thoughts were represented by time, past, future, moving beyond the mind simply means being here in this present moment, called the now. Which is why we explore the temperature of the room around us through our skin surfaces. Which is why we explore the surfaces underneath our bodies through those points of contact. Which is why we experience the fabric of clothing that covers our body. Which is why we welcome every sound that enters into our experience through our ears. Which is why we also give permission to the mind which continues to think and move. Because the thinking mind is a part of our present moment. And only minutes have passed, but yet you begin to see the sky around you faintly light up. As the sun begins to rise behind you. And then you smile because you begin to realize that all you ever needed to do was to simply stop moving and give the sun and its light an opportunity to catch up and reach you. And as you smile, you turn around. And in the stillness, in the quiet, you see the entire horizon lighting up. As the sun begins to seep through the distant horizon, and its rays, its warmth, bathing your skin. The magnificent colors in the sky. You may even feel a little bit silly for a few moments. Having spent all of this mind-made time moving in the wrong direction and away, but there never really is a wrong direction in this practice. There is no such thing as a wrong action, a wrong word in this practice. simply because all of it leads to this moment. All of the pain, all of the frustration, all of the anger, all of the sadness, having exhausted, having searched, having traveled the world many times over in order to seek this sunrise, it arrives at its own accord at the moment we stop doing and enter into this state of being. After this practice, many of us will choose to return back to the mind, and we will return to that journey westward. We will simply because of the strong identification we have with our mind. And I think, but that's not a problem because it is a part of this practice. But the difference is from this moment onwards, as you walk, as you run, as you move westward, you will be more aware of it than ever before. You will buy that new house in that wonderful neighborhood, and then you will mindfully watch, observe, and experience how long the joy and the happiness lasts. You will find the new partner, you will find or invent your current relationship. You will buy this and you will buy that, but you will be more conscious and more aware of how permanent or how impermanent those experiences that we seek are as a result of these new attainments, purchases. And I think it was Eckhart Tolle. In fact, I'm sure it was Eckhart Tolle who once said, there are two ways in which we can be unhappy. The first way is to not have what we want. I think many of us can relate to that. And then with a smile, he goes on to say that the second way in which we can experience unhappiness is by having everything we want. Something we can contemplate on, and if you want to move beyond contemplation, just reading autobiographies, listening to podcasts and interviews with the people whom we have what we want. Let's just say people who have what we want. And we begin to discover how there are other things after these boxes are ticked. always something else as long as we walk westward, but we call ourselves contemplatives because we do not take any of these words at face value. We experience for ourselves, decide if it's true or not, keep it if it's true, or discard it if it's untrue. Let's continue exploring what it means to stop, to be here now. All of the sounds, all of the sensations, all of your emotions, all of your thoughts, everything that is entering or passing through your experience at this moment, taking it all in. And there is a lot. It's almost as wide as, if you can visualize within your mind's eye, an hourglass. You know those little timekeeping devices they used in the old days? It's wide on top, lots and lots of grains of sand. And this is the stage at which we are at right now, taking in everything that we can experience, the sounds, the sensations, the thoughts, the emotions. And then following the grains of sand as they make their way to the narrow passage, wide enough for perhaps only a single grain of sand to pass through. A passage that we shall liken to the passage through which we breathe, our nasal passage. Notice how you are breathing through one of the passages and not both. Which one are you breathing through at this moment? I'm breathing through my left. And soon as you continue observing your breath, you will begin to recognize how it switches from passage to the next in cycles of half an hour, 45 minutes. But bringing all of your attention to this, the skin within your nasal passage, so that you may experience the flow of air within it. That flow we refer to as our breath. All you want is the experience. And what do we mean by experience? The temperature of the air. What it feels like when it flows in. How you can tell when it's flowing out. Changes within humidity, its humidity levels, its temperature. Not forcing it in any way, but simply allowing its natural rhythm to unfold from moment to moment and breath to breath. And once the grains of sand make their way through that narrow passage, once again embracing the present moment around and within you, I just heard a dog barking outside my window. What can you hear? Your physical sensations, again, your thoughts, your emotions. Notice how they have changed, having made your way through this narrow passage. How much quieter they feel. Maybe not completely quiet, but relatively compared to the start of this practice. And this seems like the perfect moment to move into a practice that has much to do with our health and well-being. Because many of us, we can relate to that metaphor of moving westward. What happens when we move westward? Frustration grows, impatience. Sometimes anger, sadness. Often the different emotions that we go through, or rather move through, when we identify ourselves completely with the mind, now the strange thing about the body, this physical body that's here in this present moment, this physical body through which you experience your five senses, your sense of touch, smell, taste, sight, hearing. The body is very trusting. It trusts all of the information the mind feeds it. And so when you remember one of those standards that you failed to live up to, when you remember moments in your past that you would like to bring back, another word for that, Buddhists would say resistance of change. When you think about arguments, painful events in the past, the body, it believes it's happening right now, and the body goes through every stressful motion you can conceive of, the releasing of stress hormones, the tightening of muscles, and sometimes deep within our body, contractions that affect our organs, and so much more. And because we've spent most of our lives completely identified with our mind, this tightness, this stress, these chemical imbalances within our body, we've almost accepted them as normal. This is how my body feels, and we believe this is our natural state. In this practice, I'm going to take you through a body scan where we're going to experience different parts of our body. Little by little, getting to know our bodies a little bit better, getting to know what the body feels like being here in this present moment called the now. And as we move through our body, scanning through the different parts that my voice will guide you towards, noticing whether there are any noticeable pockets of tightness or tension within the body. And then releasing intentions to release these pockets. And of course, most of us here, we don't really know what's happening within our bodies, especially the organs and all of that. But we can still release intentions, because scientists like Bruce Lipton, they speak about the body's immune system, the body's intelligence existing within every cell of the body. And so if we release an intention, we then surrender it. We let the body act upon that intention. And that intention will simply be to balance, to heal, to relax, to find ease, to find comfort. And so there's very little for you to do other than release intentions. Isn't that comforting? And the awareness that you will bring to your body, you can visualize it as light. It helps for those of us who are more visual. And within this light, we'll infuse it with many different qualities. Qualities such as ease, of balance, of comfort, of healing, of repairing from within. And most importantly, of kindness. That harmony where the cells interact with each other in complete balance. And wisdom. Why don't we begin with the forehead? And so bring your attention to your forehead. Which includes the skin that sits on the thin layer of muscle, which covers the skull. envisioning this light called awareness with all of its qualities, which we spoke of and contemplated on, and even brought about as we heard these words, what comfort feels like, what ease feels like, what kindness feels like, what balance feels like. This light of awareness bathing the forehead, its skin loosening, its skin which connects itself to the eyebrows, and from the eyebrows to the eyelids, your eyelids feeling very light and comfortable. This light of awareness now moving throughout the scalp, into the sides of the head, into the back of the head, and like flowing water down the whole face, bathing all of the facial muscles, giving you and me an opportunity to experience our faces from within, our facial expressions, the muscles, the skin that interacts with the air around us, the skin that interacts with the breath that enters and leaves through those rims that make up our nostrils, the air that travels down the upper lip, that slightly warmer, more humid air called breath. Releasing a further intention that there be ease, that there be balance, that there be stillness and kindness moving through the cells at the surface level. And then with the ringing of this bell, inviting this awareness to penetrate through the skin and muscle into the skull underneath. And from the skull, moving deep into the brain. The brain which feels a bit more relaxed than it usually is, having relinquished most of what we have to do. But the brain nevertheless continuing to function as it regulates many of the functions that make up our form. The brain filled with this light of awareness, of healing, of balance, of comfort. And then through the optic nerves, reaching the eyes, bathing the eyes, your sensitivity picking up on the tightness or the looseness of the ligaments and muscles behind the eyes, releasing an intention that all of these tightness dissolve as you release the need to exert. feeling how softly your eyelids rest upon the surfaces of the eye, both right and left. And then through a different set of nerves, how the brain connects itself to the ears, the sense of hearing, converting vibrations, air molecules, into electrical signals which move through the brain. This awareness gravitating downwards into the mouth, and as it reaches the jaw bones, finding out whether you can loosen your jaw bones and your cheek muscles any more than they already have. Gaps appearing between the teeth and the upper jaw and the lower jaw. Aware of your tongue and the production of saliva within your mouth, which is then swallowed. Aware of every single one of these minute processes which often go completely unnoticed. And the neck, which balances the head. Through your neck, experiencing the swallowing process, experiencing the breathing process. How the neck becomes a part of the shoulders, releasing an intention for the shoulders to relax themselves. This light of awareness bathing every cell within the shoulder, like a warm oil massage seeping through. Your shoulders dropping under the weight of the arms, all of the healing, all of the balancing, almost automatically unfolding within every cell. Your shoulders pulled down by the weight of your arms, so that you now become aware of your arms, both right and left, with your elbows, with your ability to distinguish between the different parts of the elbows, the outer shell, the inner fold, maybe even the muscles within the elbow, the ligaments, how the major muscle groups that move through the biceps and triceps, the forearms, the wrist, the palms, the back of the hand, the fingers, the fingernails. An intention that both of these arms that serve as tirelessly be given an opportunity to balance, to rest the nerves within them that move through the muscles. Begin a process of balancing and healing where it is needed. Releasing the need to decide, does it need healing or doesn't it? That's why we call it the intelligence within every cell. The body knows. And so simply relinquishing all decisions to the cells within the body. Our duty, the releasing of intentions. Making your way back to the shoulders. And then right at the center of the shoulders, the spinal column, bringing your attention to the spinal column, which in many ways forms the frame to our skeletal system. Using this as an opportunity, this awareness as an opportunity to stretch the spinal column by stretching the top end upward, digging the tail end of the spinal column downward in towards your chair or your cushion. Exploring the arch that you find formed through your spinal column. Noticing your ability to track the vertebrae, maybe not all of them, but some of them, the way in which they stack themselves one on top of the other. What the stretch has allowed us is for vital fluids, nerves, and energies within the spinal column to flow with greater ease. The spinal column, which has an immense role in our immune systems. These energies flowing through the spinal column and into every nerve within our body. Every cell within our body. Right from the crown of our head to the tips of our toes. Releasing an intention, a very general intention. That there be health, ease, balancing, stillness, and all of those other qualities contained within this light. Our whole bodies sitting, breathing, arrangements of cells which are now conscious and more aware than ever before. This light of awareness spreading from the spinal column through the chest and all of the organs within the chest, from the pumping heart to the lungs and all else. This light of awareness gravitating downwards through the whole digestive system, through the hip joint where the spinal column rests itself on, through the whole pelvic region, through the legs and the knees and the calves and the feet and the heels and the soles of the feet and the toes and all of the tiny bones and muscles that make up this region. Notice how the breathing process continues to unfold, whether we consciously breathe or not. Notice how the heart continues to beat and the blood continues to flow and the fingernails continue to grow and on and on. Notice how much is working within our bodies. Notice how much right is going on within our bodies than wrong. And then label all of this rightness as well-being, the well-being of my body. And with the ringing of this bell, step outside of your body. You could step to one of the sides. You could